All right, welcome back. Let's go straight to Port Harcourt. And remember, we're still talking about the issues to shape the 2019 elections. We still have Opunabo in Kotaria in our Port Harcourt studio. We're moving away right now from the CDM Walter Noggen's topic to something else that might just be shaping the 2019 elections. Now, recently, Obi Ezekwesili pulled out from the presidential race. Recall that INEC rejected her pulling out from her political party, ACPN. Reasons being that it was too late for her to be doing that. If she needed to pull out, she should have done that earlier. But we also saw that people like Fela Durute calling for a coalition to join forces against the APC and the PDP. Do we see more presidential candidates from other political parties pulling out between now and February 15?
Well, I wouldn't know. I don't have that gift of clairvoyance to know the political parties that will pull out or the political parties that will meld. But even if INEC rejects the withdrawal of Obi Ezekwesili, that does not necessarily mean she will have to continue on that steam to say she's a presidential candidate. All she needs to do is to join forces, meld with other political parties, because no political party apart from the PDP, to some extent, the ABGA, and I don't see any other political party that can actually pip the APC in the forthcoming election. So it will be foolhardy for any political party to think that it can achieve the victory on its own. It has what it takes to achieve the victory at the polls. So the best thing to do is to meld, that is, join forces, so that way they'll have the numerical strength and the chances, not because even if they meld, they cannot even beat. They are trying to do what the APC did in 2014. But in this particular instance, the APC in 2014, we had how many parties coming together, including defectors from the ruling party, the PDP. So they don't have that clout as we speak right now. We have seen the presidential candidates. We have also seen the members of these other political parties that will hopefully meld to ensure they have enough weight to pip the APC in the forthcoming elections. But I don't see that happening. It's going to be a forlorn hope. It's going to be a forlorn hope. So my advice, no problem, there's nothing wrong with that. It's politics. Everybody go into the ring and put in your best. If your best is not good enough, we still have, is it 2023 or there, whatever. But for now, it's between the PDP and the APC.
Okay. Jide, in Abuja, let's talk to Jide. Jide, one other things over time that has also shaping our politics is the issue of money bags. The money that have been thrown, and we saw the dimension vote buying as taking. Do you think Nigeria will say something, will say no this time around with all the advocacy and all the messages that are being churned out from time to time? I'm sure Sowore will also want to react on this, but let me have your take first.
Well, very unfortunately, money politics has become a bane of our elections, and as you have seen, INEC is doing its level best, trying to see how to minimize that. And as a student of politics and as a player, a consultant in this field, I've done a lot of training, I've done a lot of advocacy around the issue of money politics. And much as I want to say that a lot of people will not mind collecting this money in order to trade their votes. If you read my column in the Punch of last Wednesday, I actually took on this issue talking about the opportunity cost of vote trading, because I see it more as a trade. It's between the buyer and the seller. And the challenge basically is that the laws are very okay. You see that Section 124 and Section 130 of the Electoral Act 2010 as amended has criminalized vote buying with penalty of about 500,000 and 12 months imprisonment or both. We also have seen efforts of the INEC to redesign the polling station to also ban the use of smartphone within inside the cubicle. Also the rolling and the flattening of ballot paper. Those are the efforts INEC has made. It has also reached out to anti-corruption agents like EFCC and ICPC. But the major challenge, I was on a radio program last week talking about this campaign finance and the issue of vote buy. And people were calling in to say, look, no matter what you people are telling us, if somebody brings money, I'm going to take. And I was shocked because what people have failed to see is the opportunity cost of receiving that 2,500 as it were.
Okay, we are still having that technical age. Quickly, you want to react to that?
No, I've seen something different on the field. I think money politics has come full circle and people have come to realize that it's not helping their cause. Of course, there's a problem of instant gratification and people feel entitled because they've been denied of what belongs to them. Monies that are used in bribing election on election day are money that was stolen from the treasury. Largely, I would say almost 95 to 98% of what is being spent for buying votes are stolen directly from the people that are getting it, some of them that are getting it at the end of the day. But what we have also seen is that politics has become a little bit more topical. I traveled to over 34 states at this point and met people around the country who are asking what is there for them in the future. And they never asked me for money. People stayed in the sun in Gombe, in Bauchi, and never asked even for water, even though the temperature there was pretty intense. So, but you know that these politicians feel like they have everything under control, but they have not taken into consideration that there are a lot of people that registered to vote in this election who you can't bribe, you know, and most of them are in the middle class. There are over 2 million voters in this area, that is Victoria Island, Lekki, Ajah, and the Ikoyi axis, who never voted before and who typically don't vote. But now they feel like the lot is at stake and they're going to vote and you can't bribe them. And when you look at INEC's pie chart of voters, even the rural people that we talk about, the market women that we talk about a lot, who are the conveyors or purveyors of money for buying votes, they're not as many as they used to be. Mostly now we have youths and students, 22 million of them, more than 50% of voters coming up. And if you look at the middle class, there could be a surprise and shock. We hit the political class this time around in a way they have not ever had before. And I'm sure you're seeing it that they are very jittery, that politics is no longer the way it used to be. That is why most of the major candidates are not granting interviews, because they know that people are waiting to hear from them and they don't want to do the kind of things we do. They don't also campaign the way we campaign. They only parachute into rallies, wave,
Omoyele,
and that's the
come
end.
To you with this question. Let me ask, were you a part of the pact as the presidential aspirants coming together?
No, I wasn't. I attended their meeting only once and saw what it was about and left. And I've said that so many times. They know, they also have all admitted to the fact that I was a part of pact.
Okay, now you heard our Port Harcourt guest say that it will be a fallen hope, that it's going to be foolhardy for any political party aside APGA, PDP, and maybe any other major political party to think that they will win the election. He also said that you don't have a clout. So how do you intend to win the elections if, for example, you're not part of the pact, and Port Harcourt guest has said you don't have this, you don't have the numbers, and numbers is
we actually
what
do have the
politics talk
numbers.
about.
We have the numbers. We started our political party 5 months ago, August last year. It's the fastest growing political party in the country. The political analysts you have on TV these days are talking heads, and they are not in tune with the reality of how Nigerians are aspiring to change their politics in a revolutionary way. And that's the flaw of just picking up only what you see in newspapers. You are not reading the temperature of the people. People are tired of.
So you don't intend to join forces with another party
that
has the same ideology?
We already have a force in place, and the most important issue is ideology. If we don't have people who share the same ideological position with you, how can you join forces with them? For instance, some of the people in PACT, they don't have any position on minimum wage. In fact, so many of them don't have any position at all. you know, and we are very clear about what we want to do. We have a manifesto called Spicer Hit. We have 10 things we want to do. I'm not hearing the same thing from them. I debate these young people all the time. You know, sometimes they actually take my talking points, you know, develop it, you know, and make it a little bit more flowery and poetic. And that's what they're saying. But what I'm saying here is that we already have a coalition in our own political party. We formed our own party 5 months ago because we couldn't find any political party that can carry our aspirations. And there are a lot of young people that we've never probably seen participate in politics who are following us. And I'm saying that they will get a shock of their lives in this election.
Okay. If
the elections are free and fair.
Yeah, February 16 is just a few days away. We'll wait to see that. Let's talk to Opunabo again. He just raised something very important. And over time, some of us have seen politics. We've seen where people will say it is party structure that wins election and not just popularity. If you were to talk to Sowore here, what piece of advice will you give in terms of the relevance of having party structure? Somebody has done the analysis that if you were to pay party agent for 5,000 naira each on election day, you will not spend nothing less than 1.6 billion naira on that day of election. Is that the reality we are facing, or do you think there are volunteers who will support a cause without collecting any money?
Well, the hope and the prayer of every Nigerian, or most Nigerians, is that we have people that will not mortgage their conscience and mortgage the future of this country. People that will not sell their vote. That is our prayer. But yes, we are praying. The issue is the fruition of this prayer, of this realization. That's how do we realize this? There is so much poverty in the land. Now, if you talk of election based on ideologies, election planked on ideologies and so on, I agree. A lot of us have the ideologies and we believe so much in those ideologies. But I tell you, the politicians we have today, majority of them, because you still have the old wigs, majority of them still believe in that old system. And that is what is even responsible for the actions of Mr. President. The ultra-virus actions he's been taking in the last 1 year. It's just because of this election. Because he knows that if he goes to the poll, he's definitely going to lose. Nigerians will not vote for him. So that is the question. And he's in charge of the security. He's in charge of, forget the rhapsody of security operatives must be professional in their conduct. Forget all those. Those are just rhapsodies. It will not come to place because even the change, this CJN was changed, illegally removed, so that they will have decide who will constitute the panel. Now that of the former IG, you can imagine what happened. A lot of DIGs, which is normal, I'm not saying it's abnormal, it's quite normal, were retired, and they brought somebody that they believe will do their bidding. So the elections are not just all about free expression in this part of the world. We are gradually heading towards it. In this part of the world, the election has more to do with graft. The president will get people, whether even in 2015, he lost the election in the north, but we saw the underage voters. Now this is 2019. You can imagine the crisis is stimulating in the country. And he's going to do that so that he will use the army, the police, and the security agencies. Watch what will happen. He's intimidating the voters, the electorate, and Nigerians into retreat, into capitulation. That is what is going to happen. And I believe that we have the best ideology anywhere in the world. But in this, our country, it's not all about ideology. It's more or less, it has more or less to do with the practicalizing those ideologies.
Okay.
Even those who come and tell you this is what they'll do, they are just making flowery statements. Most of them are not even sincere.
We'll take this as your closing remarks.
They'll tell you if we do this, they just it's playing to the gallery. This is what the people want. This is what they want to hear. So let us tell them what they want. It's cognitive dissonance theory. Let us tell them what they want to hear so that we'll get the vote. How many politicians fulfilled their electoral promises.
Thank you so much.
In 2014, how many fulfilled? Not many.
Big question for Nigerians to
So,
answer.
my dear brother,
to shape
my brother
their
in the studio
decision
in Lagos,
come
the
17
point
days
is,
from
we
today,
all have
which
beautiful
is the
ideology.
presidential elections. Thank you so much, Opunabo Inkotaria, a public affairs analyst as well as a lawyer. Thank you for your time with us on the program. Jide Ojo, let's just get your closing remarks quickly. As a public affairs analyst, maybe there are things you are seeing that other Nigerians are not seeing. Is there any form of writing on the wall that says certain things would happen between now and the 16th of February that would shape the elections?
Well, the international community has warned us that there could be a spike in terrorism in the few days to elections, and that cannot be ruled out. Graciously, we've not seen much of physical violence, but there have been a lot of psychological and structural violence. And it's quite unfortunate, even though there was a peace accord signed on December 11 and 12th, much of the players have not abided by that peace accord. But more importantly is the issue you flagged earlier on about vote buying and vote trading. INEC chairman has raised that issue a couple of times in the recent past. The buying up of PVCs, the collection of V numbers, voter identification numbers, and then the collection of bank account details of some of the people from which they are purchasing these things. What do they want to use that for? To want to make money transfer. So you are not going to see much of vote buy in cash transactions where people will come with bags of money and be dispensing. What you see, if you are very observant during this election, is people getting a credit alert on their phones, maybe immediately after they've voted, and that is going to be a very difficult challenge for security agencies to nip in the bud. But I think the people must know that when they trade with their votes,
to tell us the issues that could shape the 2019 elections. Thank you so much, Jide Ojo, a public affairs analyst. And right here in Lagos, we still have Omoyele Sowore, a presidential candidate of the African Action Congress. We have some questions for you from social media, from Twitter. And I will just read out all of them so that you could answer them as quickly as possible. How do you plan to restore our dumping economy, Mr. Sowore? This is from Dulcie Williams. Presidential candidate Sowore, what do you plan to do differently from the president's administration in terms of anti-corruption fight? And how much minimum wage is appropriate for Nigerians, knowing that human wants are insatiable?
Yes, we'll start with the economy. We don't have an economy now that we can call an economy because we have not made the kind of investment in infrastructure, in the power sector, particularly in the security sector, to have a country that is functioning. You look at your business and tell me how much you spend on diesel every month. That means that you cannot even compete with companies that are doing the same kind of work you do from Ghana or Rwanda. So we have to solve the problem of the power sector, of the security sector, of infrastructure, and provide jobs, creation of jobs, and also a living wage so that people can have the purchasing power to run the economy. So I don't understand sometimes when people say that, you have too much money in circulation, and then people say they don't have money to spend to even buy tomato or buy pepper. It doesn't make sense, because our economy is being run by PowerPoint economists, as I call them. They base all their economic policies on what the World Bank told them, structural adjustment programs. But it creates an imbalance where the topmost 1% is always in charge of the assets of the country 99% of the time, or 99% of our assets, and the liability is transferred 99% to the to the people. That's what we have in this country. The moment you have a wet redistribution policy in place that redistribute wealth to a majority of the people, you have an economy. It's as simple as that. There's a second point. Yes, anti-corruption, we've said it will be a matter of ensuring that there's prevention and enforcement and consequences, and not the kind of manipulative consequences. I didn't have time to talk about my position about the CJN the other time, but it's not only the CJN. There's a lot of people out there. In fact, what the NJC now came out with is that Even the acting CGN has a petition against him. The chairman of the Code of Conduct Tribunal has. We also reported that when Saraki won his case at the Code of Conduct, the chairman of the Code of Conduct Tribunal collected $2 million from Saraki. And that is not been investigated.
That's an allegation.
But have you forwarded that to the agency?
It's on Sahara Reporters.
I think you can write that petition to the agency.
Somebody wrote a petition about it. We even mentioned where they met in Abuja, how a former governor of Bauchi State was the person who brokered it. They have never denied it to today.
Would that be the reason why some political class call you a blackmailer?
No, why was that? How is evidence-based information blackmail? Was that not the same person that revealed in 2014 and 15 that Obanikoro bribed his way to get the election in Ekiti rigged for now Obanikoro for Fayose? Now Obanikoro is testifying against Fayose. But remember then that he sued me in the US and in Nigeria, that I lied against him.
All right, thank you so much.
Yes.
Omoyele Sowore, a presidential candidate of AAC, that's African Action Congress. Thank you so much for your time with us on the program.
Thank you for bringing me.
We wish you well in the forthcoming elections, 17 days to the elections. We wish you well.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take a break. And when we come back, we still have more discussions. Please stay with us.